You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people travelling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? Mule got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do? Well, yes. Oh, it's been quite the month. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service. I don't normally take this route, but with the war I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you'd consider helping a fellow out? Of all the other things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. No point in me keeping it, however, as I'll never get to use it. But, maybe you could? The dwarf I brought it from said it activates and controls a golem. So long as you have it in your hand, the golem does what you say. Might be useful, no? I mean, you look like the sort who could use one, yes? The fellow I brought it from is a long-standing contact. He didn't want to come to Ferelden, however, with all our troubles. He said he got it from the man who owned this golem. But to be honest, I have no idea if it will work. Hence the low price. What do you say? The catch? Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. That's not such an issue for adventurous types like yourself, surely? Or I'm hoping that's so, at least. Nothing. I just don't want to have to lug around something that might be taken for a gemstone by some bandit. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll be useful to you. I paid too much to simply throw it away. Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works. Maybe you could look up the fellow who owned the golem before. If he's still about, that is. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.
It looks like a golem, doesn't it? An actual golem, and not a statue at all. I wonder how it ended up here, of all places.
By the Maker, we're saved!
You weren't sent by the ban, were you? To save us? A Grey Warden? Here! Thank the Maker for our luck! But if you weren't sent by someone, why are you here? If you don't mind me asking. A merchant? Why would a merchant... Oh... think I see. This is about shale, isn't it? I should have known. That damnable golem brought us nothing but trouble. My mother sold the rod years ago after it killed my father, and good riddance! How should I know? It must be. My father was its master, and it still killed him. Surely that's not normal behavior. My father's name was Wilhelm, mage to the Arls of Redcliffe and a hero in the war against Orlais, and what did he get? One day, my mother found him outside the tower, with so many broken bones she could barely recognize him, and shale standing over him just like it is now. My father deserved better than that. But if you really want to wake Shale up, well, it's yours now. This was my father's laboratory, beneath his tower. Or it was, anyhow. Look, I know you probably have more important things on your mind, but I really need your help. I know you already saved my life, and I'm grateful, but my daughter is inside the laboratory. She was afraid and ran too far in before I could stop her. I don't know how she made it past my father's defenses. One of the men tried to go after her. He was killed, but you could find her, couldn't you? There are defenses my father put down here to keep strangers out. I knew about the barrier, I had the key for that, but the rest of it, well, we never came down here. Ever. I don't, it's true. I'm terrified that something's happened to her and she's lying in there, injured. I can't leave here until I know for certain. Surely you can understand that. You will? Thank the Maker! My father's laboratory is just past the next area, I think. She has to be there. Why won't she come back, or at least yell out? I don't understand! Almost nothing. It used to be bigger, I think. Aside from that, it was just a walking statue. Father said it talked, but I never heard it. Mother tried to have it destroyed, but no luck. I think that's when she sold the rod, but no one ever came to claim it. Not really. We never came down here after my father died. My mother was too frightened. The barrier was supposed to keep most people out, and those who got past it dealt with whatever lies ahead. I can only imagine what my father was doing that he needed to be so careful. I'm not sure I want to know. I was so young when he died, I hardly remember. All I know is he was a fine mage and a healer. What he needed this laboratory for, or why the circle of magi let him be out here, I honestly have no idea. How to activate it? We just used the control rod and the code phrase. Or did Mother give them the wrong one? I wouldn't be surprised. She said she never wanted to see Shale activated again. Bring back Amelia and I'll gladly tell you the proper phrase, if you really want it. Please hurry!
Oh look, someone's come to play. You have come to play, haven't you? We're playing a guessing game. It's better with more people. Oh well, I suppose Kitty and I will just have fun on our own till someone more interesting comes along. Anyway, you should go if you're not going to play. Kitty finds you distracting. I can't go. Kitty says she can't come, and I'm not leaving her. She'd be lonely.
I would not suggest leaving in such hostile company anyhow, Amalia. Look how they act.
Of course she's a cat. She just talks, that's all.
Talking is simple enough, once you know how. Nothing you say will convince Amalia to go with you. She loves only me now. I am her friend, while you are just a stranger. It seems we are at an impasse, so let me propose a compromise of sorts. Release me, mortal, and let me have the girl. Let us return to her father and leave this place forever. Mortals often allow themselves to be blinded by hope. They see what they wish to see. If the father hopes to see his Amalia alive and unharmed, perhaps he will. Thank you. You are very gracious. The mage's wards hold me within this chamber, and only a mortal may approach them. There is a trick to disarming the wards, but I do not know it. Perhaps you will succeed where the girl failed.
Oh, this is so exciting! Kitty is going to be free!
Yes. I can feel the magic fading. Oh, I had forgotten how it feels not to be caged.
Kitty? What's happening?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Betrayal! You will not take the girl. She is mine!
Kitty! You're scaring me! I won't let you inside me! I won't!
You did it! You freed her! Thank you so much!
I'm sorry I ran away, Daddy. I was so scared.
It's all right, Butterfly. You're safe now. All the bad creatures are gone. The phrase to activate Shale is Dulan Han. If you still want that bloody thing. I wouldn't if I were you. Now we should go, and quickly. Thank you again. We owe you our lives.
I knew that the day would come when someone would find the control rod. And of course, it is another mage. That is what it is. Yes? Yes. Just my luck. It thinks these crystals are simply for show, I see. It thinks I cannot sense the energies it commands. Huh. I stood here in this spot and watched the wretched little villagers scurry around me for, oh, I have no idea how long. Many, many years.
Oh, you poor dear. That would be really, really boring.
Then one wonders that you wouldn't be grateful to the one who allowed you to stretch your legs, Gollum.
Another mage, I see. Charming. I was just beginning to get used to the quiet, too. Tell me, are all the villagers dead? Some got away, then. How unfortunate. Familiarity breeds contempt, as they say, and after 30 years as a captive audience, I was as familiar with these villagers as one could possibly be. Not that I wish their fate on them, no. But it did make for a delightful change of pace. Not as much as it would think. There was running and screaming, and then days and days of watching the darkspawn prowl around. I would never have thought there could be something less interesting than the villagers, but there it was. Well, go on then. Out with it. What is its command? Entrenched sense of perversity. The last one who held that damnable rod used to call me Gollum. Gollum, fetch me that chair. Do be a good Gollum and squash that insipid bandit. And let's not forget, Gollum, pick me up. I tire of walking. It does have the control rod, doesn't it? I am awake, so it must. I see the control rod, yet I feel... Go on, order me to do something. Oh, go on. It will be fun. And, nothing. I feel nothing. I feel no compulsion to carry out its command. I suppose this means the rod is broken? I suppose if I can't be commanded, this means I have free will, yes? It is simply, what should I do? I have no memories beyond watching this village for so long. I have no purpose. I find myself at a bit of a loss. What about it? It must have awoken me for some reason, no? What did it intend to do with me? Ah, how unexpected, yet refreshing. I suppose I have two options, do I not? Go with it or go elsewhere? I do not even know what lies beyond this village. Did I? I remember that I had a former master. The mage with the furry brows who poked and prodded and barked orders. Did I kill him? I hope I did kill him. Perhaps the last order he barked was, "Gollum, stop crushing my head." Ah! Yes, I'm just funny that way. Yes, very likely. I have no idea. How does it trust anything else without a control rod? They haven't killed it yet. I consider this a good sign. I watched this village for so long, unable to move or act. My memories of anything before are vague at best. So I have no idea what I want to do. I'm glad to be mobile. Is that not enough? I will follow it about then. For now. I am called Shale, by the way. It would rather I was called Flint. Pebbles? How about Rubble?
Oh, thank the Maker. We need help. They attacked the wagon. Please help us. Follow me. I'll take you to them.
The Grey Warden dies here! Oh, what? I rather thought I would wake up dead, or not wake up at all, as the case may be. But I see you haven't killed me yet. Of that I have no doubt. You are most skilled. If you haven't killed me, however, you must have kept me alive for some purpose, yes? It is my way, or so I am told. Let's see then. I assume you kept me alive to ask me some questions, yes? If so, let me save you time and get right to the point. My name is Zevran. Zev to my friends. I am a member of the Antivan Crows, brought here for the sole purpose of slaying any surviving Grey Wardens, which I have failed at, sadly. So would I be, in your shoes. For me, however, it sets a rather poor precedent, doesn't it? Getting captured by a target seems a tad detrimental to one's budding assassin career. Yes, it's true. Too bad for me.
I can tell you that. They are an order of assassins out of Antiva, very powerful and renowned for always getting the job done, so to speak. Someone went to great expense to hire this man.
Quite right. I'm surprised you haven't heard much of the Crows out here. Back where I come from, we're rather infamous. Oh, fine. Is that what you Fereldans do? Mock your prisoners? Such cruelty. Not precisely. I was in the neighborhood when the offer came. The Crows get around, you see. A rather taciturn fellow in the capital. Logain, I think his name was. Yes, that's it. I have no idea what his issues are with you. The usual, I imagine. You threaten his power, yes? Beyond that, no, I am not loyal to him. I was contracted to perform a service. Oh, well, that's between Logain and the Crows, and between the Crows and myself. Isn't that what we're establishing now? I wasn't. If I had succeeded, I would have returned home and the Crows would have informed your Logain of the results, if he didn't already know. If I had failed, I would be dead, or I should be, at least as far as the Crows are concerned. No need to see Logain then. What can I say, huh? I am an eternal optimist. Although the chances of succeeding at this point seem a bit slim, don't they? No, I don't suppose you'd find that funny, would you? I wasn't paid anything. The Crows, however, were paid quite handsomely, or so I understand. Which does make me about as poor as a chantry mouse, come to think of it. Being an Antivan Crow isn't for the ambitious, to be perfectly honest.
Well, aside from a distinct lack of ambition, I suppose it's because I wasn't given much of a choice. The crows bought me young. I was a bargain, too, or so I'm led to believe. But don't let my sad story influence you. The crows aren't so bad. They keep one well supplied. Wine, women, men, whatever you happen to fancy. Though the whole severance package is garbage, let me tell you. If you're considering joining, I'd really think twice about it. You seem like a bright lad. I'm sure you've other options. Why not? I wasn't paid for silence. Not that I offered it for sale, precisely. Consider it something I'm throwing in for free. As it is, if you're done with the interrogation, I have a proposal for you, if you're of a mind. Well, here's the thing. I failed to kill you, so my life is forfeit. That's how it works. If you don't kill me, the crows will. Thing is, I like living. And you obviously are the sort to give the crows pause, so let me serve you instead. To be completely honest, I was never given much of a choice regarding joining the crows. They bought me on the slave market when I was a child. I think I paid my worth back to them plus tenfold. The only way out, however, is to sign up with someone they can't touch. Even if I did kill you now, they might just kill me on principle for failing the first time. Honestly, I'd rather take my chances with you. Possibly. I happen to know their wily ways, however. I can protect myself as well as you. Not that you seem to need much help. And if not, well, it's not as if I had many alternatives to start with, is it? Why? Because I am skilled at many things, from fighting to stealth and picking locks. I could also warn you should the Antivan crows attempt something more sophisticated, now that my attempts have failed. I also know a great many jokes, 12 massage techniques, 6 different card games. I do wonderful at parties, no? I happen to be a very loyal person, up until the point where someone expects me to die for failing. That's not a fault, really, is it? I mean, unless you're the sort who would do the same thing, in which case I don't come very well recommended, I suppose. Well, let's see. Being allowed to live would be nice, and would make me marginally more useful to you. And somewhere down the line, if you should decide that you no longer have need of me, then I go on my way. Until then, I am yours. Is that fair?
A fine plan, but I would examine your food and drink far more closely from now on, were I you.
That's excellent advice for anyone.
Welcome, Zevran. Having an Antivan crow join us sounds like a fine plan.
Oh, you are another companion to be, then? I wasn't aware such loveliness existed amongst adventurers, surely.
Or maybe not.
I hereby pledge my oath of loyalty to you until such a time as you choose to release me from it. I am your man, without reservation. This I swear.
The Blight. How will you end it? Is that all? It is surrounded by an ocean of darkspawn. How will you reach it? If you reach it, how will you slay it? You say you are a Grey Warden. I have heard stories of this order. Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear of the Wardens. So far, I am not impressed. Evidently not. It remains only to see what you are here for.
Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the task in front of it. The most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon. I shall be moved to a single tear by the tragedy. It's true. One single tear, and then it's off to the north, I think. Or maybe west. I haven't decided. What's that? Did it hear flapping wings? There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert.
What do you need? Ask away. I suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word. Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others, about serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. Within the crows, I did. But it has been something the crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
Yes? Well, here I am. What is meant by someone like me? And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no? You would abandon your Grey Warden duties to seduce an initiate into forgetting Chantry and Maker? There are certainly many to choose from. I was never one of them, though. I was only affirmed. The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Yes. Speak, then. Ours wear the faces of men. They do not have the excuse of demons within them. Darkspawn, abominations, plagues, and storms. Men are far more dangerous than these. One moment of betrayal can bring more ruin than an earthquake. You know this. They are Talvashoth. They say they are Grey Ones. True in the knowledge of themselves. They are gaping holes where men used to be. Nothing can fill them. I don't know. There was a village in the mountains of Saharon. Farmers. They grew cinnamon and nutmeg trees in perfectly ordered rows. There would always be one person waiting, a foreman, a harvester, rank didn't matter. Often they would say nothing. Simply watch as we worked to examine the empty house, a new one each time, that had once been the home of a colleague, a friend. We always made a point of searching. Now and then a body would turn up in a river eaten by rain and crows. More often we found nothing. Even in the worst parts of the jungle, the villagers would send someone with us to see the tiniest piece of bone or cloth. Anything contained the possibility of their lost friend. Must we speak of this? We could be fighting something. As you wish.
Your desire? If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. Oh, I truly doubt that children would be worth the effort. They are filthy, smelly things full of tears and snot and trouble. That said, I cannot speak for the tastes of my mother. She has, after all, lived a very lengthy time in the wilds and done many things I know nothing of. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you. No, 'tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one. I'm shocked that you think so, being a mage of the circle as you were, but perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower. I thought so. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch? I wouldn't advise it. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
What do you need? Ask away. Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. It's really for the best. I'm not exactly the Chantry type, if you haven't noticed. I don't think I would have made a very good Templar. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky. Oh, I suppose the Chantry life is good enough for some. Here, we have the chance to fight against the Blight. To actually do some good instead of sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was a good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Irving told me about how you became a Grey Warden, and that unpleasant incident that occurred prior to your departure from the Circle. None other. I respect the decision you made, and the way you handled it. And it did not seem to affect Duncan's desire to recruit you. But that aside, you're a Grey Warden now, and perhaps I presume too much by saying this, but the Circle is proud of you. Do not squander this time trying to explain why Irving picked you. Accept it, and be the Grey Warden you're supposed to be. Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to, that it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? Now that you mention it, I am not entirely certain. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die. Of course, you compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a Crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful, and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied you? Oh, you're speaking seriously, aren't you? I do forget that this is not Antiva City. We are a little more open-minded about such things where I hail from. Is this something that I should beg pardon for? Of course, my mistake. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. Eventually can be a very, very long time, if one plays one's cards right. Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the Crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.